Today we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at the temperature and humidity controller by INKBIRD. I'm Ethan and you're watching Radiant Reptilia. So INKBIRD approached me and asked me to review one of their products. While not strictly a reptile company, they do have some tech that can be used for reptiles, such as their temperature and humidity controller. Essentially this is a thermostat and hydrometer all mashed into one, as far as I know. Just as a quick disclaimer, I was not paid to do this review. I'm going to be giving it my honest opinion on how it works and functions as I test it out on one of my own reptiles. Let's cut this guy open. Fancy box. Manual, all in English, very nice. A warranty card, 12-month warranty. And look at this thing, that's a lot bigger and bulkier than I expected. Nice little screen protector, those are always satisfying to peel off. Oh yeah. Isn't that just beautiful? I'm assuming this is the humidity probe to determine the enclosure humidity. What's hiding? There we go. I was worried for a second. So now that I've found both the temperature and humidity probes or gauges, I can see where these guys plug in, P1 and P2. I assume that syncs up with work 1 and work 2, but I'm not exactly sure. They have these little tabs that pop out, I guess to keep dust from getting in there when they're not plugged in. The overall base, it's pretty darn practical. It's large and square. Build feels overall pretty sturdy. It's a plasticky material, but sturdy nonetheless. It's got two nice little hooks at the end, so if you want to mount it up on the wall or whatever, if you have a tank up high on a shelf and you need to be easily accessible, that's nifty. Big hefty cord that looks very nice and strong. So the product that most people in the reptile world would be more familiar with would be Zoomed's Hydrotherm. Just looking at it here on Amazon real quick, it's about $5 more expensive than this one. That I guess could change because Amazon prices do vary a little bit, but it's nice that this is a little bit cheaper. According to the box, its power load can be almost double of what Zoomed's can. Zoomed's being at only 1,000 watts and this one being at 1,800 watts. That 1,800 wattage is actually pretty nice because that's basically the max you can pull out of most 15 amperage wall sockets, so it really allows you to utilize as much energy as you can out of a single outlet. This temperature range goes from -40 to 212 degrees Fahrenheit or -40 to 100 degrees Celsius. That's a huge range, my goodness. The INKBIRD's humidity range is from 5% to 99%, while competitors are usually around 15% to 90%. So this has a slightly higher humidity range, which is nice. Supposedly it has a high and low temperature and humidity alarms to let you know if it's like getting way too high or way too low, and a probe abnormal alarm. I guess if your probe is malfunctioning, as an alarm that goes off to let you know. That's pretty nice. Some fail-safes built in there. Let's plug it in and see how this display or LCD or whatever it is looks. Humidity gauge, 75% humidity. So obviously these are what read the temperature, so if I was setting this up for a reptile, these would both go into the enclosure through some of the ports at the back that you find on fancy Exoterras or Zoomed enclosures. These two are essentially going to be your outputs or whatever is adjusting or altering your humidity or heat within the enclosure. This could be something like heat pads, heat lights, Reptit foggers, anything like that could go in here, which would adjust the heat and humidity. According to the instructions here, if I bought myself a second, temperature probe, I could wire it up with two different temperature probes. I could actually correspond them to each outlet and then have them in different enclosures and have it programmed to operate different enclosures at different temperatures, which is really nice. So this is almost like a 2-in-1 thermostat if you wanted it to be, or hydrometer if you wanted 2 hydrometers. Just taking a look at the programming here, I quickly hit the set button and now I can scroll up and down throughout what temperature I want it to be at. Surprisingly easy to program. Whenever I see an LCD, even though I like the way they look, I'm always worried it's gonna be more difficult to program than something like an old analog thermostat or something like that. But this has proved to be fairly simple and straightforward. So overall, I don't see any major downsides yet. I haven't actually put it into use. I will be testing it on my rainbow boa, Ash, at home. If you're not familiar with rainbow boas, they're considered an intermediate species because of their high dependence on proper temperatures and proper humidities in particular. In the wintertime, something like a thermostat is really important because extended periods of time at temperatures lower than 60 degrees can actually kill this species, and their skin condition goes south really quickly if their humidity is not high at 70 or 90% like almost all the time. So something like a hydrometer would actually be fairly useful for working with an animal like this. Currently, for temperature, this guy does have a heat mat and a heat light, which are both rigged on a thermostat to keep it right where it needs to be. For humidity, he has a Reptifogger. This is not on a hydrometer. I've never used a hydrometer before. I just do a manual humidity test every day just to make sure that that humidity is where it needs to be. It can be a bit of a pain not actually having that automated. I've always wanted to, but humidity gauges are on the more expensive side, so I'm excited to see actually how this works practically. So in the coming days, I'm gonna go ahead and test this guy out. Not the snake. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing to work in this guy's enclosure with the Reptifogger and with the heating utensils and see how it responds under pressure. But most importantly, we need to make sure Ash appreciates it. What do you think? Do you approve? Does it meet your standards? Don't stick your tongue in the plug.
I took the product home and put it to work almost immediately on Ash's enclosure. While I was setting up the product, my reaction to it was more or less the same as it was during the unboxing, that being that I really liked the product. One complaint that did arise is that neither the temperature nor the humidity probe actually have a suction cup, which is something that most reptile-related products would include, just one of the caveats of this not being a reptile-specific product, but really, at the end of the day, it's not a deal breaker. Since I haven't had a chance to use or review any of the competing products, I'm not going to give this one an out of 5 review, but I will give it a quote-unquote good review. Both Ash and I approve of this product. If this product does catch your fancy, feel free to check it out with the link down below in the description. Oh, and here's a random shot of me being too lazy to get a ladder.